Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and one of the big discussions this last week has been snaking in the game right now. We're going to talk about it in some detail exactly what it is, some clips of it if you haven't seen them as yet, but certainly some of the big discussion has been players abusing this broken in-game mechanic to mean that, well, effectively you can bob up and down behind cover without being seen, but you can still see them, you can still get shots off pretty easily, and it's something which has been effectively gentleman's agreemented for the last several years, but it is certainly back in force right now. And Octane said in a video last night that he believes it's a plague on the game, and what exactly could we do about it to make sure it doesn't ruin the viewing experience and the playing experience for the fans and the pros alike. Enjoy taking your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this is funny, clearly Empire were recording some content piece, and as you can see, Crim right here, this is actually a bold cap, he's not actually fully got his hair off, going to Stone Cold Steve Austin right here, and then choose your fighter with the Undertaker ILLey on the left-hand side. Thought this was quality. I'm sure this is going to be a good piece of content whenever indeed it does go live. Before we get into the snaking stuff, I wanted to mention this as well regarding that, well, Singularity Esports, and Zero has been playing for them for quite a while. With short notice, Zero will be leaving the team to fulfill the obligations of the London Royal Ravens. The team has decided to mutually part ways for the upcoming elite qualifier and are open to individual offers. So when we saw this initially, it was like, yo, is he getting to the States? Is something sorted out? Zero, for some reason, the Ravens going to get him in even though he's still in Europe to try and play in their team because the Z thing, maybe they don't want to go long term, and Alex has had to come back to the UK due to some family issues. So that team is really in a difficult spot right now. So that's kind of what this sounded like, that maybe they were calling up Zero to the roster. But as Trey says right here, look, no, it's not happening. I'm not on the way to finally join the Royal Ravens in the US. And this is kind of the explanation. So supposedly London might have wanted, Zero to actually be playing with Afro. So Afro is a substitute player also on the Royal Ravens. So maybe they want to form some sort of academy squad where he's parting ways with Bids, Denter and Maple, and then playing with Afro, Gizmo and Defrag, for the reasons of, okay, they want to form some sort of London academy squad where they play together and, I don't know, something of the sort. But that seems to be what's going on right now. So that's actually the obligations he had to fulfill rather than unfortunately getting out to the States. But we'll have to see what happens in due course right here. So this really has been the question these last few days. As Clay says, I find it funny how 3ARs, we talked about this earlier today, snaking has been GA'd. Oh yeah, has it? What CDL have you been watching? So Clay talked about around about this time last week, the fact that snaking in the game, we'll look at a couple of clips in a second, has it's been GA'd for quite a while. Way back in Infinite Warfare was really the golden days of it, and it happened before that as well. I mean, World War II, also the year after, wasn't ideal certainly, but in Infinite Warfare, there was some discussion around the Stage 1 playoffs that snaking was so good in that game, and so people were just bobbing up and down behind head glitches. This, I think, is actually the classic clip of it from Cellium way back in the day, where effectively this is what you're doing if you are snaking. You're going prone, you're standing up again repeatedly behind cover, and it makes you pretty much impossible to see. And in Infinite Warfare, it was so bad that some poor soul running around this corner right here wouldn't even be able to see you at times behind this head glitch while you were doing this, because effectively the character models in the game are somewhat broken to the point where you can't effectively see someone doing this. Their head is barely visible while they're actually doing this repeatedly because the character models don't fully represent what you can actually see from a player's perspective. So this is an issue in this game and pretty much an issue in every title for quite a while, and so there's some games it hasn't really been a problem in, which is obviously a good thing, but the pros have decided kind of mutually not to use this for quite a while. However, as of late, it's been very difficult to get rid of. We kind of got rid of it in Black Ops 4, and there were some pros that certainly were still using it. In Modern Warfare, there was a particular hill on St. Petrograd, the P5 hill behind the bar, where it was kind of difficult not to snake, right? Because you do something like this, but at the same time, what if you reload, you go pro and you stand back up? Does the guy on the other side know that you've snaked him, or have you not tried? Is that perfectly fine? Is that not perfectly fine? It's a bit of a difficult one to draw a grey area on. And there's certainly some players that Octane's going to talk about in a second that are using this and abusing it to their good leisure, like, Cellium and DiamondCon and the like, who are, in his opinion, plaguing the game right now. What exactly are we going to do about it? I mean, this is what Octane says. We went from crucifying people from snaking to the entire league being okay with it. Sells gross, that's nothing to do with it. Like, he's a great player. He's a great kid, Octane mentions in this video. But he'd be the same player without snaking, but he decides to do it anyway. And it's kind of ruining the game right now. These were the key clips from this weekend though. So DiamondCon on the tires up against OpTic Chicago right here, pretty blatantly snaking the tires, just going up and down, making it very difficult for them to kill you or even to see you, to be honest, and just hold this off. A situation where he doesn't necessarily even need to do it. The pros don't really like it being done, but as Clay's saying, like, if you can't really gentleman's agreement it, because what is snaking, what isn't snaking, it's kind of tough to say. Is crouching up and down snaking, is that considered snaking? Like, it's a little bit of a grey area. If you do it once or or twice. Is that okay? Like, it's a bit of it tough to say. So Clay was like, okay, just abuse it, use it, and abuse it to your own good leisure, as I just said. And this was also a clip of Cellium using it this weekend, even though, you know, he talked about the whole false narrative stuff. You can see right here, bob it up and down on this heady, as is tradition. So I'll play the clip on screen from Octane, and well, pretty entertaining to see what he has to say on the matter.
We don't need movement exploits to be good, you know what I mean? So like, while we're all shoot straight, we're all competitive Call of Duty players, it's like we don't really need to do these things, but there are certain players that just like, it's just ingrained in their blood to do it, and I don't know what it is. Fast forwarding from World War II to Black Ops 4, that's when Cell became a pro player, and he was known for, before he even became pro, he was known for being that ratty player, snakes, you know, those weird angles, you guys all see it, like the aim assist spots through walls. Like, Cell's a very ratty player, and that's why he's so good. He knows more about the game than a lot of people do. And, you know, as time went on, people have yelled at him repeatedly, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And he just still does it. And again, there's a bunch of players that do it. This is just an example. There's a bunch of players similar to Cell, but, you know, he's the one that's getting harped on. So a lot of people were yelling at him about doing it. It continued to happen. And now with the addition of sliding, it makes things a lot harder because you slide cancel head glitches, and people will, like, it goes back and forth because it looks like you're snaking when you're slide canceling a head glitch. But, you know, if you one and done, like, come around a corner, slide into a head glitch, like, that's not really snaking. And it's very hard to differentiate that when you're actually in game. So people think you're getting snaked when you're really not. And it's just like, it's not enforceable because it's a game mechanic that is just, it's like auto tack sprint. It's impossible unless you are staring at the player to deduce whether they're using it or not. It's a movement mechanic that needs to be stopped. And I think the only way that it is going to be stopped is with dev intervention. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but, you know, fingers crossed there, because it is plaguing the league. You guys watch it every single league match. There's some example of it. Someone's doing it somewhere. So I think it's a bullshit game mechanic. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that would agree with me and disagree with me, but it's just something that really doesn't have a place in Call of Duty, in my opinion. But
so what is the potential solution to this whole snaking issue at the present time, right? Because as far as I can see it, this needs to be something that the developers can somehow get rid of from the game. It clearly is very difficult. The pros have tried, and Slasher was talking the other day about how Josiah Berry, that being slacked in World War II, he used to use this snaking thing quite a lot. And well, they decided at the time that, okay, look, we're not going to use it anymore. Slacked, just stop using it, and he stopped using it. And then the scene was actually okay. We didn't have too much snaking. However, there were certain players, Cellium clearly being one of them. I mean, as Octane saying in the video, there's some other ones as well, DiamondCon and some other names in the scene, who just seem to kind of help themselves with snaking, and, you know, somehow it's built into their game mechanics or whatever. Which, okay, it is what it is. I mean, it's just not the most fun thing to watch, though, I think. I think a lot of people were saying, and looking at this clip especially, and this weekend's, seeing people doing it all the time, it's not the best thing to watch, and it certainly wasn't the best thing to watch back in Stage 1 playoffs, where everyone was just doing it repeatedly on head glitches again and again and again to gain a competitive advantage in the game. Who can really blame them? But at the same time, for a number of years now, it hasn't really been an issue, but this season there's been certain players using it, and Cellium is the one that everyone always talks about, but it's not necessarily just him, as Octane is saying, who well, are making this a bit of a problem. And as Clay's saying, like, what are you even meant to do against something like this? I mean, poor ILLey right here just gets absolutely bodied by Cellium off this head glitch, and well, not too much you can do about it, unfortunately. So, what is the solution, right? If the pros aren't going to stop using it, it's not something which is easy to GA. The discussion was there from Slasher, like, we should just blacklist Atlanta FaZe. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to work, because they're the best team of the game by a margin at the present time, and if you don't practice them, how are you going to get the opportunity to actually get better at the game right now? And so you can't really blacklist them, and from scrims and all this type of stuff. What is the solution? Can the developers potentially get rid of it from the game? I'm not exactly sure what happened back in Infinite Warfare. I think they found a way to nerf it, but there surely is a way. When you go prone, back in Black Ops 3, for example, I'm not really sure it was an issue, because when you like crouched and just about went prone in that game, you had a really hard time standing up. It took you absolutely forever to get back up, so you couldn't just do it repeatedly. And in Infinite Warfare, I think eventually the pros just decided kind of not to use it, but certainly there could be a solution that the developers implement to make sure snaking isn't a problem in the game, and doing the whole going prone and then standing back up thing again doesn't quite work. However, you've then got to ask, all right, what about crouching up and down? Is crouching up and down okay? Like, if we just repeatedly do that behind a head glitch without even moving, that's yeah, it's not quite as bad as snaking, but still, I mean, it's not ideal. What do we really want from that? And is it even possible to fix how the character models behave in relation to what the players players doing at the time? Probably not. It's very difficult to manage, right? It's not something I'm sure which is an easy fix. So what is the solution? As Octane says, it's pretty much plaguing the league. This I thought I'd mention quickly because this time last season, not actually this time last season, but slightly later in the season, the CDL actually put this graphic up on screen saying that snaking had been GA'd out of the game. As Clay says, like, that graphic was incorrect in every way, shape or form at the time. So, and snaking is allowed. So, you know, it's Clay saying, look, snaking's been allowed. It is what it is. But clearly the pros like Octane are pretty frustrated with it. And I think that if it continues to go down this route, it's going to be a frustrating discussion over time. If pros continue to abuse this, it's not the best thing to watch. I don't think it's the best thing to play. But no, what even is the potential solution? Couple of interesting things I thought to finish off the video. This one, round 11 stats, talking about hardpoint and other game mode win percentages for the entirety of stage 1. So let's have a look at this real quick. So FaZe topping the list in the hardpoint standings. Honestly, all things considered, not an incredible amount of dominance from any team here, but Rokkr, especially with that 2-7 record, not looking too solid for them. Search and Destroy, I mean, this is just remarkable, right? Ravens have a tough time, but FaZe 11-1 in Search and Destroy, far and away the best team in the game, completely dominant right now. And then Control as well, this is pretty interesting. OpTic at 8-1, could have been 8-0, right, if they didn't lose that Control to the New York Subliners. And then, well, Seattle Surge right now at 0-6, unfortunately for them. So, of course, many things will change over the course of the season, but thought this is pretty interesting to mention at the current time. This also that Chrome points out in the Challenger side, FeLo, Nagafen, John and Zaptius looks like a potential team in the Challenger scene going forward, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that one. And just this final thing as well, I did talk about this a while ago. I think for quite a while after I made that video, I was getting DMs and such requesting how exactly you can find this and what exactly this tool is. So because Silly shouted it out again, I thought I'd mention it right here. As he says, this is called TAC Maps by the Rec League, and an interactive map tool effectively that is essential for teaching or coaching. If you need to show your team how to set up, you need to draw spawn points, this is the best tool for it. So pretty cool stuff. I thought I'd mention this again, given I talked about it a while ago, and you can draw lines on the map and do this kind of develop your routes and this type of stuff. Seems like a really cool software. So if you guys would like to check it out, the link will be down below and all that type of good stuff. So intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this snake debacle once again. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you very much as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.